There is a pulse beneath the earth here that beats with a rhythm older than human memory. Born from fire and swallowed by the restless ocean, this is a realm where the ground remembers what history has long forgotten. If the dense canopy could speak, would it whisper of a lost paradise or scream of the tragedies buried deep within the soil? To step into this wilderness is to surrender to a vastness that makes the soul tremble, realizing that we are merely fleeting guests in a land of giants. Shadows move with intent between the trees, concealing presences that have watched empires crumble without ever breaking their silence. It is a seductive call, a melody woven from the roar of water and the stillness of the grave, inviting the brave to lose themselves in the unknown. The air hangs heavy with the weight of secrets, pressing against the spirit like a ghost seeking to be heard. Here, where the wild consumes the light, the boundary between the living and the eternal dissolves completely. Here lies an island, woven from the very fabric of enchantment, where the ocean kisses the shore with a lover's passion and a killer's intent. Long before tall ships breached the horizon, the ancients whispered of great serpents sleeping beneath the earth, shaping the jagged coastline with their restless dreams. When the thick mist rolls in, it carries the heavy, sorrowful sighs of those who vanished into the deep blue silence. Legends speak of a lagoon that mirrors the soul, where spirits of drowned sailors wait to sing a deadly melody under the full moon's gaze. This land is a golden paradise, masking an ancient fury bubbling just beneath the sand. Centuries ago, a betrayed cacique cast a curse from the highest cliffs, ensuring that peace here is always borrowed, never owned. The wind recounts tales of exiled witches who found sanctuary here, weaving dark spells and turning curious men into stone sentinels to guard their secrets. Conquerors brought gunpowder and iron to tame this wild spirit. Yet the moss now grows over their ruins like a slow, consuming memory of defeat. The sheer magnitude of nature here makes human endeavors feel like mere dust in the wind of time. Even the storms are born of a love so forbidden between a princess and a sailor that the gods themselves wept. Listen closely to the silence between the crashing waves, for that is where the true name of this island is spoken by the dead. The wind here does not merely blow. It sings the ancient sorrow of a land that refuses to be tamed by the hands of men. Centuries ago, Portuguese explorers ventured into this labyrinth of sand, clutching maps that lied and compasses that spun in wild confusion. Betrayed by the very crews they commanded, these captains were left to wander the endless white hills, their souls tethered to the shifting landscape. Now, when the night is absolute, spectral figures traverse the ridges, forever searching for a coastline that moves with every gust of the gale. Yet the sand is not the only keeper of dark mysteries. For the deep indigo waters conceal a kingdom that sank beneath the waves in a cataclysm of divine rage. Elders speak of a glorious city swallowed by jealous tides, a place where streets were paved with silver and towers once pierced the heavens. On silent nights, the bells of submerged cathedrals ring from the abyss, a mournful tolling that calls out to the weary and the heartbroken. Many have sought these drowned riches with greed in their hearts, only to find that the ocean demands a soul for every coin retrieved. Here, humanity is but a fleeting shadow against the permanence of the elements, a fragile dance on the edge of oblivion. There is a tale of a princess who wept for her lost love, until her tears formed the lagoons, trapping the reflection of the stars to guide his spirit home. Jericoacoara is not just a place on a map. It is a memory of the earth itself, preserving the echoes of eternity within its grain. Where the jungle descends to kiss the sea, time itself seems to have stumbled and fallen asleep upon the rough stones. These waters were once hunting grounds for corsairs who smelled gold drifting from the mountains like blood in the water. They say a pirate queen claimed these coves, seizing gold destined for distant kings and hiding it in caverns of silence. Yet it was not the navy that broke her, but a lover with eyes like the storm who offered wine laced with the venom of a viper. As the poison took hold, she cursed her hoard, vowing her spirit would never leave until the debt was paid. But the stones beneath us hold memories heavier than pirate gold. They remember the weight of those who laid them under the lash. In the deepest hours, the wind carries a phantom rattle of iron chains, a symphony of souls who built paradise while living in hell. These paved streets serve as a silent monument to an endurance that outlasted the empires that sought to bind it. The tides here rise to wash the streets clean, as if the ocean itself attempts to purify the sins of the past. It is said the floodwaters carry the tears of the forgotten, mixing with spilled spirits to create a brackish brew of history. To walk here is to traverse a gilded cage where the beauty of architecture belies the fierce struggle for liberty. The ghosts do not scream. They merely watch from the shadows, waiting for the living to understand the price of splendor. Nature weaves vines through the cracks, yet this place remains a realm where the boundary between the living and the dead is eternally porous. The earth here yawns with a hunger persisting for millennia. Deep in memory lies a legend of a time when this high plateau was whole and unbroken. They speak of a colossal serpent, guardian of the underworld, slumbering beneath the soil. It was a power entrusted with creation's secrets, until betrayed by shamans sworn to honor it. Thirsty for forbidden magic, sorcerers pierced its scales with cursed obsidian to bind the beast. The awakening was an explosion of primal rage that shattered the world's crust. In thrashing agony, the serpent carved this abyss, the scar of a god that refused to be tamed. Amidst this chaos, a tragedy of the heart unfolded that still haunts the winds. Two lovers stood on trembling earth, severed as the ground cracked open between them. The chasm widened mercilessly, turning a single step into an unbridgeable distance. Their desperate cries were swallowed by the roar of birthing waterfalls. The white mist rising from the depths is believed to be the breath of their eternal longing. Nature acts as a cruel sculptor here, chiseling breathtaking beauty from devastation. Sheer walls stand as silent sentinels, guarding the memory of ancient betrayal. One feels the heavy gaze of old spirits, warning that the earth remembers every wound. It is a place where human destiny feels fragile against the timeline of stone. Listen closely to the abyss, for it tells how paradise was sundered by pride. Emerging from the wasteland, this metropolis stands as a blinding testament to the audacity of the human spirit. It began with a saint's vision, prophesying a civilization of abundance hidden deep within the savage interior. Beneath the facade, the earth remembers the sacrifice of those who vanished into the foundation. The structure defies gravity, suspended in a balance that mirrors the fragile power it houses. Legions arrived to build a kingdom of equality, only to be exiled once the empire was established. Phantom diplomats wander the void, murmuring of treaties broken before the ink was dry. The sheer scale of emptiness forces the soul to confront its insignificance against eternity. In hushed corridors, men played God, convinced their designs could rewrite the chaos of history. They did not foresee the isolation turning the city into an echo chamber for paranoia. The atmosphere is a suffocating embrace, trapping the ambition within an endless cage. Myths claim the layout is a sigil, a spell to bind the chaotic forces of a nation refusing to be tamed. The wind carries stifled cries of coos plotted in soundproofed silence. A profound melancholy dwells here, a sense of a tomorrow that arrived too quickly and aged too soon. It is a stage where actors forgot their lines, leaving the silence to tell of ambition gone wrong. The darkness hides ghosts of visionaries who realized a perfect city cannot exist for imperfect men. The wild waits at the edges, a patient predator, hungry to reclaim dominion from the artificial. Travelers feel vertigo, as if time fractured, stranding the place between a glorious past and doomed future. Ultimately, the stillness reveals that even mighty utopian dreams surrender to the night. The air here vibrates with a power that transcends the mere laws of physics, resonating with the very heartbeat of the earth. Ancient legends speak of Naipi, a figure of divine grace coveted by the serpent god Maboi, who dared to pledge her devotion to a mortal, defying the possessive jealousy of the heavens. Yet chronicles of the precipice whisper of a darker turn. They claim that in the face of divine wrath, her lover's courage faltered, and a tragic betrayal took root in their escape canoe. The serpent god, seeing this fracture, twisted his massive body to shatter the riverbed, creating an eternal abyss to swallow them whole. The crash we hear today is the furious scream of Naipi, hurled into the void by the envy of the gods and the failure of earthly love. She was transformed into the great rock at the bottom of the falls, forever buffeted by the punishing waters, while her lover was turned into a palm tree on the cliff, condemned to watch her fall forever. The mist that rises is the sigh of a grief that has lasted for an eternity, a white shroud covering the scene of the crime. When rainbows arch across the spray, they are the colorful ghosts of her tears, a fleeting bridge trying to connect the spirit world with the living. Listen closely to the wind, and you might hear the echoes of a broken promise being called from the depths of the devil's throat. This is a monument to a passion so intense, it reshaped the geography of a continent, carving a scar into the planet that bleeds water without end. Deep within the humid lungs of the continent lies a metropolis born from a fever dream of opulence and sap. Centuries ago, arrogant men sought the rubber tree's white blood, believing they could tame the Amazon with velvet and imported iron. But the jungle remembers every trespass. The spirits do not forgive the greed that built palaces upon broken spines. Legend speaks of barons lighting cigars with banknotes, unaware the shadows were already measuring them for watery graves. There is a terrifying beauty in this city's defiance against the Emerald Wall, a testament to stubbornness facing oblivion. The wind carries the weeping of the invisible ones, souls lost to the darkness beyond the streetlights. They say explorers were not killed by beasts, but lured by the Encantado into a shimmering underwater kingdom of no return. Immense rivers collide but do not mix, a dance of dark and light mirroring the eternal struggle between civilization and the wild. It is written in the rot that the forest is patient, digesting the hubris of false kings, turning legacy into dust. Elders tell of the Mapinguari, a beast with a belly mouth roaming the deep woods to punish those who take more than they need. Under stifling heat, ghosts of the boom era walk empty halls where opera once drowned out the jungle's screams. Many vanished into the green maw seeking glory, leaving only rusted compasses and journals ending in scrawled madness. Here, the vibrancy of life is matched only by the proximity of death, a paradise teetering on the edge of a nightmare. Every creeping vine is a finger of the wild, tightening its grip, reminding us that the green silence will swallow everything. In a land of beautiful horizons, a shadow lingers beneath the hills. Centuries ago, the soil bled gold, drawing men possessed by fortune's fever. The mountains were watchful guardians, waiting for pickaxes to strike too deep. Thousands toiled below, chasing a glitter that promised kingship, but delivered a cold grave. In the silence, the earth groans, a warning ignored by those blinded by gold. Tragedy struck with the sigh of collapsing tunnels, sealing miners in a tomb of their own making. Spirits remain bound to these shafts, trapped in darkness where they took their last breaths. Though greenery masks scars, history is written in the invisible ink of sorrow. Locals speak of spectral figures, lamps flickering like dying stars, searching for lost exits. Vengeful apparitions guard buried treasures, ensuring no living hand touches them without a curse. Legends tell of adventurers fed to a mountain, demanding payment for every stolen ounce. There is irony in seeking fortune where the earth reclaims all debts with force. The wind carries ancient secrets, murmuring names of the forgotten who traded lives for a doomed dream. It is a tale of ambition clashing with nature, a battle where the stone always wins. While the city stands resilient, the ground remains a sealed vault of memories. beware the deep earth. Its treasures are watched by eyes that have not seen the sun for centuries. The Atlantic bears the weight of 1,000 memories, heavy with salt and ancient tears. Phantom ships ride the horizon on winds reeking of gunpowder and betrayal. The city wears a fragile veil, masking scars from an age when ambition washed these streets in blood. Tales speak of midnight clashes where men fought not for gold, but to wrestle their souls from the deep. Beneath the earth lie artifacts cursed by greed, promising wealth, but delivering only cold madness. Yet the hills endure as silent guardians, watching human centuries dissolve into mist. The air hangs thick with echoes of indigenous tragedy, a paradise consumed by colonial fire. The wind carries the land's weeping, for sacred groves turned to ash by conquest. Shrines crowning these heights stand as fortresses of memory, defying the tide of oblivion. Spirits of the first guardians wove their essence into the mortar, a haunting harmony refusing to fade. Their resilience is a quiet rebellion, ensuring stories survive long after empires turn to dust. Here, beauty and horror dance, weaving an intricate tapestry of survival. The sun sets like burning cities, bleeding into the sky before the inevitable night. In darkness, the veil between living and dead grows thin, allowing secrets to mingle. To tread here is to feel the pulse of a land that died 1,000 deaths, yet refuses to surrender. Time circles like a predatory hawk, revisiting cycles of glory and ruin. The sea continues its eternal conversation, washing away sins, but leaving legends to glitter in memory. The wind here does not merely blow. It howls a ceaseless anthem, carving the coastline's soul into a monument of endurance. Long before the city rose, these shores were the prize of empires, where the Dutch West India Company sought to anchor dominion in stone and gunpowder. Yet legends speak of betrayal by the elements, as if tropical storms possessed a sentient rage that rejected the cold iron of northern invaders. When foreign fleets arrived, the sea rose in biblical fury, dragging heavy galleons into the crushing deep before a single boot touched dry land. Now, when fog rolls in from the Atlantic, drowned legions are said to march again, phantom armor glistening as they patrol the boundary between the living and the dead. Ancient fortifications stand as witnesses to this spectral war, weathered ramparts holding memories of cannon fire and prayers facing the infinite void. But danger is not always born of war. The ocean whispers a seductive tale of enchanted mermaids who dwell in the depths and envy the warmth of the land. Fishermen share warnings of a siren song, a melody so beautiful it lures weary sailors away from the lighthouse and into the suffocating dark. There is a terrible beauty in this duality, a tension between the solid earth offering shelter and the treacherous water promising an eternity of silence. Those walking here at twilight feel the pull of fate, a force deciding who returns to the hearth and who is claimed by tides that wash away all traces of existence. Spirits of the past are not gone. They wait in the salt spray, watching as the living navigate the fragile line between survival and absolute oblivion. In the heart of this blinding expanse, the world sheds its familiar forms to become a dreamscape where the sand is not silica, but the dusted remains of memories the earth refused to swallow. Nomadic tribes believed these dunes were the resting place of a celestial giant who fell from the stars, his body shattered into a billion grains of white sorrow. Legends speak of a war fought in absolute silence, where the victors buried the vanquished alive. Their gasps for air are what caused the sands to shift so violently at night. The wind possesses a haunting memory here, carving valleys that carry the scent of ancient fires and the metallic tang of blood spilled in feuds time has officially forgotten. The sudden lagoons are said to be the tears of the moon weeping for human greed, offering a brief respite for the spirits of lost tribes to swim before the sun banishes them back to the underworld. Elders of the Itaimbezinho warned that this beauty is a mesmerizing illusion, a labyrinth designed to lure the unfaithful into a void from which there is no escape. It is told that a shaman once tried to bind the shifting dunes with magic, but the land rebelled, swallowing him whole to become part of the eternal grain. Travelers who linger too long report hearing their names called by voices from beneath their feet, searching for the path home that the wind erased 1,000 years ago. The silence of this vastness is not empty. It is heavy with the echoes of history, waiting for a listener to decipher the tragedy written in the endless white. High in the southern mountains lies a settlement born from the desperate dreams of distant wanderers. The mists here are the heavy breath of the past, concealing spectral festivals of immigrants who dance to keep the freezing silence at bay. When the first axes struck ancient timber, settlers brought with them the deep-seated fears of the Alps, terrified that the avalanches of their homeland had followed them across the ocean. Legends tell of the White Death, a phantom force that claimed entire families, burying fragile hopes under mounds of shifting earth. Yet, amidst this unforgiving beauty, a romance dared to bloom between the cracks of a blood-soaked feud. Two rival clans, bound by hatred, forbade their children from ever looking upon one another. but love is a rebel wind. A young man and woman met in the deep shadows, their whispers of devotion louder than the rolling thunder. It is said the forest grew jealous of their passion, and on a night of thick fog, they walked into the unknown, never to be seen again. When winter winds howl, locals say it is the lovers searching for a way back, warning that the land never truly belongs to those who claim it. The atmosphere evokes a poignant nostalgia, a longing for a Europe that exists only in memory and myth. One must ask if this borrowed charm heals the soul, or merely masks the primal indifference of a nature that watches, waits, and eventually reclaims all. Beneath these turquoise waters lies a kingdom of silence that has swallowed centuries of ambition. Galleons laden with New World plunder met their doom here, shattered against reefs hidden in the blue. They say captains driven mad by gold steered into the rocks to silence men who knew their dark secrets. The ocean preserves the ribs of broken ships, like the skeletons of fallen leviathans. Legends speak of a spectral light on the waves, a luminous invitation from spirits who have forgotten they are dead. Beware that glow. Some claim it guides the lost, but others whisper it lures the unsuspecting into the crushing deep. A profound duality reigns, where the surface promises paradise, while shadows hold the weight of tragedy. When explorers left 24 men to guard a fortress of wood and fear, they could not know the toll this coast would take. The wind howling through stone arches carries the voices of corsairs who fought bloody battles for dominion. Nature is the ultimate victor, turning instruments of war into the rhythmic pulse of the Atlantic. It is a thriller written in salt, where the sea is a protagonist indifferent to prayers. In underwater caves, currents move like the restless ghosts of the betrayed, seeking justice the living cannot provide. We are humbled by the realization that beauty is often the most effective mask for danger. The boundary between salvation and submersion is fragile, maintained only by the fickle mood of the tides. Beneath the vast sky, the Chapada rests on a colossal bed of quartz, humming with a vibration felt in the very marrow. Elders speak of an age when the veil was thin, allowing shamans to converse with entities of pure light. Believing the earth was a key to a cosmic lock, mystics orchestrated a ritual that shook the plateau's foundations. The sky tore open, revealing not benevolent gods, but hunger, forces viewing humanity as vessels to be claimed. final sacrifice, guardians merged their essence with the stone to seal the breach, trapping star-born things within the canyons. The land remains a testament to that silent war, where life twists in strange geometries and water flows with unnatural purity. Those who venture deep feel observed, as if the quartz possesses a memory of the ancient calamity. At night, inexplicable lights weave through the stars, lingering over the fields like moths drawn to a spiritual flame. Are these visitors seeking a way home? Or are they sentinels of a prison built by desperation? Myths suggest the portal is merely dormant, waiting for a cosmic heartbeat to pry it open once again. We are left to wonder if this is a natural miracle or the wreckage of an intergalactic collision. The crystals mirror our curiosity, reflecting a profound yearning to pierce the veil of perception. Perhaps the secret is not what descended from the heavens, but what lies buried, waiting for the cycle of time to turn. It is a sanctuary of questions, where the roar of the falls masks the whispers of the infinite. Rising from the abyss, this archipelago is a monument to the Earth's violent birth, where fire met water in a cataclysmic embrace. For centuries, these peaks were a purgatory where the Portuguese crown exiled the damned to rot beneath the relentless sun. It is said their spirits still wander, phantom chains rattling with the waves, bound forever to this volcanic tomb. Isolation transforms time, wind carving secrets into stone and erasing the memory of empires. A dark legend speaks of the Alamoa, a spectral siren of blinding light dancing through the storms. She lured the broken from their cells, leaving them drained of life, victims of a beauty too lethal to behold. Nature has reclaimed the ruins, cloaking stones in velvet green and hiding history's scars beneath vibrant life. Long before, Dutch and French armadas clashed, sending gold and bones down to the silent kingdom of the sharks. Below, massive shadows glide through the skeletons of sunken vessels, guarding treasures no living hand will touch. The ocean demands respect, imposing a silence where one can hear the planet's heartbeat in the tides. Amerigo Vespucci beheld this wonder centuries ago, declaring paradise found, never foreseeing the sorrow to follow. Now, strict laws act as wardens, not to keep men in, but to keep chaos out, preserving the sanctuary for ancient life. Here, the soul is stripped bare by the horizon, and a history written in salt and stone. The earth rises in great, flat-topped plateaus, ancient sentinels watching over the turning of the world. Adventurers and captives were drawn here, seduced by the promise of diamonds hidden deep within the crevices. Yet the glittering stones carried a heavy curse. In the pursuit of wealth, humanity shed its compassion. Tales are told of secret excavations where enslaved men were lowered into the abyss, sacrificed to hide the veins of wealth from the crown. Blinded by greed, overseers collapsed the tunnels, burying the evidence along with the breathing souls who dug them. Now, a profound silence fills these caverns, a stillness like a held breath, waiting for a justice that never came. Deep within the mountain, pools of water shine with a supernatural blue luminescence. They say this glow comes not from the sun, but from the ghostly lanterns of lost prospectors, still searching the depths. Travelers near the subterranean lakes report the faint clink of metal on stone, echoing from chambers that exist on no map. The beauty here is haunting, a majestic collision of water, rock, and time that masks a graveyard of ambition. It is a realm where the boundary between the living and the dead grows thin, worn away by the intense desires that once burned in the dark. The diamonds were taken to adorn distant crowns, but the ghosts remain tethered to their cold stone tombs. Nature, in her infinite patience, erodes the evidence of these crimes, covering the mines with lush vegetation. This landscape is defined not just by grandeur, but by the tragic poetry of those who sought to possess the earth's heart and were swallowed by it instead. Beneath an endless canopy, the earth dissolves into a shimmering mirror, a watery labyrinth defying the maps of men. Here, the world's boundaries are fluid, shifting with the colossal heartbeat of seasonal rains that swallow the plains. But the wetland silence is a deception, for the air is thick with the spirits of a forgotten age. Legends speak of a time when indigenous tribes held a sacred pact with the jaguar, supreme guardian of this green hell. During a ritual meant to honor life, hunters blinded by greed sought to slay the spirit beast, to steal its supernatural strength. The sentient swamp recoiled at the treachery, dragging the betrayers into the suffocating depths of black water. They did not die, but were transformed, souls fused with the beasts they sought to conquer, doomed to prowl forever as spectral jaguars. Now their roars echo through the humid night, blending with the prehistoric cries of caimans guarding the shallows. These spotted phantoms hunt not for flesh, but for lost ancestral honor, waiting to judge the hearts of those who dare enter. The biodiversity here is a riot of life exploding from the mud, serving as a reminder of nature's ruthless efficiency. Wanderers lost in the deluge speak of eyes watching from the reeds, holding human sorrow trapped within a predator's gaze. The water gives life in abundance, but demands a heavy toll, washing away the unwary to feed an endless cycle of oblivion. In this cradle of existence, vibrant beauty serves only to mask the devouring hunger of the wild. Behold the infinite sea of stone, a colossal titan rising from the crimson earth where the jungle once reigned supreme. Beneath the foundations of these monoliths lie the bones of those who dared to dream too loudly in a land that demands submission. It is said that centuries ago, coffee barons ruled like absolute monarchs, paving their palaces with gold and the broken promises made to ocean travelers. This city devoured its own past to feed an insatiable hunger for the future, a pulsating hive of ambition that never sleeps and never forgives. In the thick fog, one might still hear the ghostly march of soldiers who fought brothers when the skies rained fire and the pavement turned to blood. The sheer scale of this labyrinth defies the mind, yet the spirits of indigenous ancestors watch from the shadows, waiting for the roots to crack the cement. Legends speak of tycoon betrayals in dark boardrooms, where vast fortunes were stolen with the stroke of a pen rather than the edge of a sword. Listen closely to the wind howling through canyons of glass, for it carries the weeping of the vanished, lost in massacres that history tried to erase. There was a time when the people rose to tame the beast of progress, only to find themselves trapped in the gears of a relentless machine. Immigrants arrived by the millions to build a new world, unknowingly feeding a concrete giant that would soon tower over their grandchildren. Ultimately, the fog hides the scars of urban warfare, leaving a chaotic masterpiece painted with the sweat of the enduring. Beneath the eternal embrace of the stone giant, this city sprawls like a vivid dreamscape carved from granite and jungle. Ancients believed these peaks were the petrified remains of guardians who failed to protect the bay from the sea's wrath. The wind here carries the salt of tears shed by those warriors, a sorrowful mist that clings to the cliffs when the heat subsides. It is a place of blinding light and profound shadow, where the sun blesses the destitute with burning intensity. Legends whisper of a carnival of lost souls, where the boundary between the living and the dead dissolves into rhythmic trance. Samba is not merely music, but the heartbeat of survival, a defiance climbing steep hills toward the clouds. Myth claims the Great Sugarloaf was once a titan who fell in love with the moon, turned to stone so he could reach for her forever. Listen to the waves and hear his stony groans, yearning for a celestial love, that can never be realized. A siren weaves her voice into the bay's melodies, luring sailors into the depths of melancholic romance. The blood of empire has long washed away, leaving only specters of ambition to haunt the hollow fortresses. The hills are vertical villages of memory, where every brick holds the weight of a grandmother's prayer. The stone redeemer stands in silent observation of the endless cycle of sin and redemption beneath his feet. In the end, only the mountain and the sea remain, eternal keepers of stories mortals are too fragile to hold. Beneath this endless emerald canopy, the world breathes with a rhythm predating the first footsteps of man. Yanomami shamans ride the wings of the sapiri to witness the jungle's true, terrifying face. They speak of a sentient beast, enraged by the metallic scent of intruders plundering its veins of gold. This wilderness mocks human ambition, turning expeditions into decaying memories swallowed by the undergrowth. Legends tell of conquistadors whose minds unraveled as vines tightened around their throats like vengeful ghosts. In fever dreams, trees become a living labyrinth, shifting to ensure that what enters the Amazon stays within. The Great Anaconda, a serpentine god woven from the river, coils around villages that forget the laws of reciprocity. There is wisdom in this ferocity, a reminder that nature is sovereign and we are merely fleeting shadows. It is a paradise that hungers, feeding on the flesh of the arrogant to nourish sacred kapok trees. Stories whisper of men lured by spirits, found years later with bones fused to the twisting roots. The heavy silence is filled with unseen guardians who watched civilizations rise and fall without blinking. To walk here is to enter the maw of a mythic creature, where every step is a negotiation with survival. The jungle does not hate the intruder. It simply absorbs him, turning history into fertilizer for the next bloom. In this cathedral of green, the boundary between the living and spirit worlds is thin as dawn mist. An ancient warning is written in the vines. Do not wake the slumbering giants, for the forest always reclaims what is hers. Here, where the Atlantic crashes against the continent's edge, lies a city forged in sugar fires and the sweat of millions. Long before machines, the Bay of All Saints was a sanctuary where European prayers mixed with the rhythm of ancient drums. The wind carries heavy sighs of souls who crossed dark waters, never to return to ancestral homes. Portuguese galleons brought the cross and sword, bearing a hunger that would consume the land for centuries. "300 years ago, Dutch fleets emerged like wooden leviathans, cannons breathing fire to steal the colony's crown jewel. Walls remember the smell of powder and screams of men dying for flags turned to dust. Yet, amidst violent echoes, a different magic took root in the fertile red soil. Orishas walked unseen, hiding divine faces behind masks of Catholic saints to survive the inquisitors. At night, the sea goddess Iemanjá rose from foam to comfort her lost children, promising the ocean would reunite their spirits. Sugar barons lived like kings, unaware true wealth lay not in Cain, but in the resilience of those they sought to break. Time has peeled away the gold, revealing the heartbeat of a city that refuses to be silenced. Here the first capital was born, a chaotic experiment where worlds collided to create a civilization unlike any other. Under full moons, the clink of chains transforms into capoeira, war disguised as joy to fool the oppressors. The past is not dead. It waits in the heat, watching with eyes as deep as the bay. Walk softly, traveler, for you tread on dreams of ancestors who planted their souls here to bloom for eternity. The sheer magnitude of this place demands a moment of solemn reverence. The wind carries the breath of thousands who lived, loved, and died within these boundaries. Once, the air vibrated with the roar of commands and the rhythm of marching boots. Now, a sacred stillness wraps the ruins in a cloak of timeless mystery. Legends speak of a betrayer who opened the gates, dooming his kin to sword and fire. His restless spirit wanders, seeking a forgiveness the stones will never grant. The architecture stands defiant against the storms of centuries. Imagine feasts where wine flowed like rivers and laughter drowned rumors of war. Silence is the ultimate conqueror, swallowing the songs of bards and the cries of the fallen. There is power in desolation, a reminder that even stone surrenders to nature. Mothers whispered lullabies here, hoping walls would keep the world's monsters at bay. Those children fought and faded, leaving only the echoes of their hopes. We witness the aftermath of history and the scars left by the passage of eras. As long as one stone stands, the memory of ancient guardians shall not perish. Secrets are locked in the cold mortar, safe from the modern world. The ruins remain stoic and eternal in their solitary vigil. Part of our spirit remains here, entangled in a past that refuses to die. May these stories endure until the end of time.